All right. So let's get started with part two of how is ChatGPT. This one is probably a bit shorter. So this is about literature search. So I think I mentioned this also when I was talking about the AI scientist project, is how scientific process involves like this thinking about novel ideas and then trying to see what other work has been done in this space and try to place your your work in context, right? As you say, I've done this work and this builds on the findings that these other people have. So if you take that example of like Google Street View and how clean a neighborhood is versus what they consume, then maybe connecting these two ideas, maybe there's no work, but there's lots of work analyzing Google Street View and like maybe your environment on how what kinds of things you post or whatever. Like there might be related stuff. So you can try to frame your work in that context and say, okay, these people have done this and found this. So that's this process of literature research or literature search, which is like finding what others have done given your area. And in general, ChatGPT is not so good at that. And there are these other tools. Obviously, my animations messed up. So yeah, so it's not really that good. But there are some tools like deep research that help. On ChatGPT and Gemini, both of these, there's deep research. Uh, let's also look at this elicit.com. Okay, so this is research papers, superhuman speed. Okay, again, you need to take those with a mm, pinch of salt. But okay, so this was an example that I wanted to show. So basically, I had this question where I asked it for, okay, this is the thing that I'm working on, and so I already have an idea, right? Like so, where I said I'm working on this idea where I want to analyze print newspapers, what they cover. We have this type of data. Now I want to do some deep research on this topic, particularly on whether such research has been done in these specific areas, and look at related literature to these areas, and then just try to do some critical thinking, give me ideas on how to operationalize this, right? So basically, I'm asking a lot of it. Obviously, having used these, I know it's going to fall short, but I'm trying to prompt and get as much as I can from this. So it asked me some questions and I answered that, and then it went and thought for 9 minutes, looked through 30 sources and gave me some ideas. And a lot of these are like academic papers, and a lot of these are papers that I would not have known, don't know, and like are really, really good. Like again, it gave me if you look at this, so it gave me 20 resources, and some of these I knew, some of these I don't know, most of them I don't know. But it gave me this sort of fresh view of it, right? Some of these are useless, but some of them are helpful. So that helped me, okay, in saying, yeah, this direction has been done already, this direction has not been done. So this would probably take me again, half a day or something like that. That now took 20 minutes for it to, think and then for me to prompt and all of that stuff. So that's a huge time saver. Obviously, this is not complete, and I have to still do my due diligence and all that, like with every other thing that I talked to you about. So let's check also elicit, which is, I mean, these are helpful also in doing other things, if you are doing yourself, your things like that, like you wanna do some report on something like this. So basically, let's try to do the same. So. Um, yeah, I don't know. Let's let's see. Probably this will not work. I'm not sure. But let's check. Yeah, okay. So it's trying to evaluate some sort of strength of my question. Let's check if that will work. Okay, it's a good question. It's saying research focus or whatever. I mean, these are good AI tools, right? So basically, let's check. Okay, so it says 50 papers. Okay, well, sure, why not? So it'll take 10 seconds and searching and looking for 50 papers for the free version. So it did complete in like 3 seconds, and then it identified 50 papers. This is trends in varieties. Man, yeah, this is very, very relevant. Like this is exactly what I was looking for. So basically whatever, right? So this helps us do this sort of task. So this is quite good. Another huge thing that was a huge, is still a huge waste of time is these sorts of reference formatting. So some guy will say, I want APA format. Some will say, I want Chicago format. Some will say, whatever BibTeX format, junk, all of this useless shit. And this is the huge time saver. I just say, okay, please convert this. So, I put it here, and then I say, convert this. Or I say, okay, give this URL and just convert this, it'll do this for me. So in terms of literature research or background research, summarization, it's quite good. Condensing YouTube videos, again, I mean, I haven't shown you this, but Google Gemini model, they're really good. Let's try to check maybe. So if you go to Gemini, or maybe you have to go to AI Studio. Yeah, this one. So if you, let's check, like maybe I have a YouTube video somewhere here. Um, so yeah, I mean, this will reveal my YouTube search history, but anyway, let's check this one, right? Okay, so this is like an 8-minute video, or maybe let's check. Okay, this is a 53-minute video. Let's check. So this is about, okay, why climbing the Mount Everest is so expensive. Uh, can you tell me what this video is about? And some key, I don't know, let me check this. So this is, I mean, this works because, okay, this is apparently probably not going to work because this is only, you can only, I mean, this is taking 932,000 tokens. It only takes like 32,000 tokens. But maybe there are these models that actually have like a million context length, so that will work. So it's taking its time, like probably 30 seconds or so. Let's check. I don't know if it will work, but because we selected the wrong model, but let's check and see. Okay, maybe I'll just reload and man, shit. Okay, so let's go back. Right, paste this. What is this video about? Summarize the important points made in the video. So I selected the right model. So now, okay, I can provide it up to a million tokens, and we saw this tokens, what those mean. So because Google owns YouTube, this is easy, like because they have the internal YouTube data, they can easily get this sort of context. But obviously, this is a very big video. It's an hour-long video. But my assumption is it'll take like 30 seconds or something and give you a quick summary. Um, so this is extremely helpful, like for lectures or some of these videos. Sometimes these days, I just have a video and I don't want to watch it, and I just give it here and I say, okay, what is this video about? Does it, and ask some specific questions like, does it answer these sorts of questions and things like that. Okay, this is taking a bit longer than I actually thought it would. Uh, so maybe we can get back to this. But okay, so in terms of literature research, it's half-half. Like I said, it's not ready for prime time. There are tools that do it, but they're not like exactly, they don't solve your complete problem. And then there are these LLM powered search. Okay, Perplexity is one. So for instance, I'll show you an example of Perplexity, which is here, right? Like, so this is an example. So I was trying to use that browser use tool, and I got this error, right? So what I said is, this is my code, and this is the documentation. So because this Perplexity is like a search engine, you can go and browse the web, give me code and the results, where they're saved into separate files. So what it did is went and read all of these sources, including the documentation. You can also see what sources it read, right? All of these, and then it gave me the answer, which is like the actual code that I copy pasted and I showed you as if I wrote it. Like, but it's actually this. So it's Perplexity. That's the good thing. Perplexity. Okay. Apparently after 100 seconds times out. So maybe, yeah, maybe it's not, this thing shouldn't be a full circle. It's not as good. Like, but I mean, maybe I'll show you some examples where this does work, right? Like, things like, I mean, I want to show you something that is a bit longer. So, but not like, yeah, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but maybe this one. I don't know. So Oops. Okay, let's remove, like, and get another prompt, right? Like I think, mm, okay, let's check again. Maybe we'll get back to this. So for formatting references, translating text, it's quite good these days. Explaining concepts in terms of, okay, now I got some papers, but they're talking about some media studies jargon, so I can ask it to explain. Other use cases are in terms of coding and data analysis. I told you this already. Like, I used a lot of it for coding. Like, so for instance, I wrote this code that maybe I can try to find it, but it was completely written by ChatGPT, basically, where it tried to do this sort of. So I gave it, I said, okay, I have my email and Apple Mail. Read the file from Apple Mail. So I didn't specify what format it is. It should be able to understand the format, and then extract all mentions of ChatGPT. And I just tried to use that to see how many people actually have AI generated titles in their research papers. So something like that, like very quick project, like again, 20 minutes of analysis, all code written by AI. Explaining code, okay, if you have a complex piece of code, asking what it does, translating code from a language to another. This is a huge lifesaver. Usually, a lot of my type of work, there's code in R or Python, or some people write in SPSS or things like that. I can try to ask it to translate into Python that I understand, or just execute it. Things like that are really really helpful. Debugging code, like so, I showed you an example. I ran it and I got this error. So how do I actually run it? Also add details about how I save it, and it did for me. Let's see if this works. Yeah, right. Like so, this is it took. How long did it take? Actually, yeah, 64 seconds, like a minute, right? Like for a 36-minute. This is a 23-minute video. It says, okay, these are the key points covered, and it's just super detailed, right? Like if you go actually, so when he was initially arrested. I don't know if you know about Ted Bundy. This guy is like a serial killer, but then he was finally arrested in 1989. And this video is a 3D animation, archival footage, and narrative to reconstruct. So gives me, okay, a very good idea of like a 23-minute video without watching it, and then I can use it to decide whether I'll watch it or not. Then there's, I showed you examples of these for the advanced data analysis. Then for data coding, which is another task that we as researchers do, where you give it some data and ask it to annotate that data. Maybe I'll cover this in another video separately, where I'm going to talk about how I'm using it for specific research questions and show you examples of. Uh, so overall, in terms of coding, it's really good, like writing code, explaining code, translating code, debugging code, really, really good. Data analysis, not so good. It's some it's okay. And then there's these other things like research promotion, social media posts, presentation slides. Like, that's another thing. So, usually what I also can do, I don't do it like because it's not really that good. I'm surprised this is ranked as like fully good, but it's not that good. But, at least, with a lot of these, it gives you a good first draft. It doesn't give you the PPT itself, but it'll give you like bullet points that you can copy paste. Like you upload a paper and say, give me slides for this. And say give the context, and this has to be for undergrads or for like a research audience or whatever. I don't do things like that, but I've seen people do things like that. Like so it's okay, like it's not bad, like, but it's you need to still, I mean, I feel like it's a lot more work asking it to do it and then you correcting it rather than you doing it yourself. And then creating podcasts. I think this is another thing with the Google Notebook LM thing that I showed you. A lot of people are doing this these days. If you have like a 50-page paper, nobody will read it. Like, but if you have like a 10-minute audio that goes along with it, people can listen to that and then decide to read the paper or not. So people have been doing this quite often now. Including this person who wrote this paper, like he has been doing this sort of. Let's check actually. Car, yeah, right. Like so, if you go here and you go to Research maybe. Yeah. So here, for instance, for a lot of where I saw a bunch of them where he had publications maybe. Yeah, this one, right? So here, all of these deep dive podcasts are all things from Notebook LM, LM podcast and things like that. Like people are doing this these days. Uh, okay. So yeah, obviously, again, this is, the more you know of how to use these, the more you can use these. So try to use them. And once you start using them, you'll find these sort of prompting techniques. Some of them work, some of them are just old and don't necessarily are needed. Like since I had, okay, generate this a high quality thing. Probably it's not needed, but whatever. Like, there's these things, use academic tone, use a clear example, right, for a well-informed audience, things like that help usually, or giving it more context usually helps. And there's a bunch of references from which I got inspired. Like again, I use all of these myself, I showed you examples, but structuring the talk and all of that, I got examples from all of these papers. Yeah, thank you, and then I'll see you in the next video.